Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I'm the voice of radio. So today we need to continue our look at the complete history of the Pokemon trading card game by having a look at Fates Collide. And as I've told you in recent videos, we've started this up again. We've started this series back up again because a lot of people have asked for it, but these videos take a lot, and I do mean a lot longer than your average videos take to make, about 3 times as long as a normal video. So do make sure you spread the word, watch them, tell your friends, all that good stuff, so that I can justify keep making these videos. Good. So Fates Collide then, what do we see? Well, the Japanese release came around on March the 18th, 2016. It was called Awakening Psychic King. The Japanese sets often have better names than ours do, let's be honest. And then that was followed fairly quickly, to be honest with you, just kind of a month and a half, less than 2 months later, on May the 2nd, 2016 for us. Which is very, very cool. We like this. Now, this was actually the very first set that had a pre-release kit with one of 4 promos, that being Moltres, White Kyurem, Zygarde, and Tyranitar. Nowadays, this is standard because we've been doing it since 2016. But at the time, it wasn't standard. So having a proper kit where you would have a bunch of cards you could use to make a deck rather than just having what comes in your packs, and having, one of 4 promo cards at random, this was a really big deal at the time. I actually was lucky enough to be able to take part in one of the first ones of these. And it did make me hate Dugong. But other than that, it was an awful lot of fun. That was a very big change. It's also worth pointing out, now we had an Alakazam in this set, and because obviously at the time we weren't doing Kadabra or any of that, we had to get creative, but of course all EXs are basic, so Alakazam gets an EX and that's a basic, and that's fine because all EXs are basic. What was weird about this set was that Alakazam EX had an ability that happened when you evolved into Mega Alakazam. And the reason I'm fairly sure, although obviously there's not going to be an official statement about this, is essentially because Mega Pokemon only have one attack, they got one thing, only ever one thing. So this really is an ability on Mega Alakazam, it's a when evolving ability, but they had to reword it and give it to Alakazam because Mega Alakazam already had an attack, which I think is a very fun little piece of Pokemon history. So in terms of new EXs, we had a bunch of new EXs that came along and got full arts. So Glaceon EX had a regular and a full art, very good Pokemon that could shut down evolution decks. Alakazam EX, as I previously mentioned, that had a regular and a full art. And then that evolved into Mega Alakazam EX that had a regular and a full art. Incidentally, a lot of people, myself included, thought this could be a fun road deck. It never was. Umbreon EX had a regular and a full art. If you KO'd a Mega Evolution, you took 2 extra prizes, got played in a bunch of decks, but it never really was as good as it looked like it could be. Genesect DX got a regular and a full art. This was a very, very, very good card. Let you once during your turn take a tool from this and put it into your hand, so you could swap tools. And free energy, 100 plus 20 more for each metal energy discarded from this Pokemon, which was cool. We had Altaria EX with a full art, and Mega Altaria EX with a full art, was never particularly good. And then Kingdra EX came round with a regular and a full art, and again, unfortunately, never ended up being particularly good. But we did have a bunch of EXs in this set, which didn't have full arts. So we got Regirock and Zygarde, both incidentally very good, we'll get to them more in a moment, but these were very good cards. Zygarde efficient attacker, Regirock upped damage. But there was a Zygarde EX perfect battle deck in Japan. That's where these came from, and you know the rule by now. Where they come from decks in Japan, there is no full art, so when the English set comes out, we don't get the full art. There was also Diancie, Ordino, and Mega Ordino, and Mega Ordino won Worlds in 2016, so you better believe we're going to talk about that more in a moment. They came in the Mega Ordino EX battle deck, so again, there was no full art version of those cards. And yes, Mega Ordino that won Worlds came in a glorified theme deck over in Japan. Cool, I suppose. Now, we did also have a bunch of new Pokemon break in the set, as you tend to do. Delphox I absolutely loved, because once during your turn, you may search your deck for a fire energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. Good ability, frankly. I thought this could be good. I tested it a lot. It wasn't. Omastar Break again seemed like it could be kind of fun. Once during your turn before you attack, you may switch your opponent's bench Pokemon EX to one of their active Pokemon. Seemed cool, never ended up being particularly good. Now, Carbink Break actually was genuinely good, because for a single energy, it let you attach 2 energy from your discard pile to your fighting Pokemon, and it said energy, so yes, you could get special energy. Bronzong Break was actually pretty good, because you discarded as many metal as you liked from this Pokemon, and for each one you chose a Pokemon and did 30, so either spread or do big damage to one. And then Lugia Break did 150, which wasn't actually particularly good. Sorry about that. But there were some interesting breaks in this set, a couple of which saw a bunch of play. Now, in terms of full art supporters, we just got the one here. We just got ourselves Team Rocket's handiwork, although they're making the R, so that's a very, very cool card. In terms of gold, we just got the one. It was Alakazam EX. But goodness me, they went and put Umbreon and Lugia in the artwork, which they're 2 phenomenally popular Pokemon. So you better believe people were very, very happy about this. That's still a card. It's not gone into ridiculous levels yet. If you haven't picked up this card, now might be a time to do so. Although speaking of the card, this is the most expensive card in the set, but it only comes in at the time of recording, it's like a $40 card. It's not absolutely ridiculous, and given that it's, the rarest card in the set, and it's got Umbreon and Lugia on it, and it's amazing, it's got a Rita artwork, at some point this is going to be a ridiculous card. I would suggest getting in sooner rather than later. Now, there were a couple of theme decks, as there tend to be. We had ourselves Sky Guardian featuring Lugia, and Battle Ruler featuring Zygarde. Now, the Lugia deck Sky Guardian, you got both a holo and a regular Lugia. The holo was exclusive, it was just a regular rare in the set. And then we had non-holo versions of rares of Snorlax, Moltres, and Delphox. Now, Delphox was weird. Now, the non-holo was kind of exclusive to the theme deck, but it could also be found in the Build and Battle pre-release kit, so not 100% exclusive. Battle Ruler, the Zygarde deck, gave you a holo and a non-holo Zygarde, the holo being exclusive, and then you got non-holo rares of Lucario, Serperior, and Carbink. For what it's worth, this was nominally the better of the two, but honestly, neither of them was particularly great, as theme decks generally don't tend to be. Now, in terms of the best card, it's a little bit weird, because Ordino and Mega Ordino, we kind of got to start with them. They won the World Championships in 2016. But it's worth noting, if you go and look on like Limitless or whatever at tournament results, Mega Ordino has exactly 2 good results listed. Winning the World Championships with Shintaro Ito, and 22nd at the same World Championships with Shin Akiyama. That's it. The only 2 results it ever had. And this was a deck which was very much built for the meta at the time. Free energy, 110, and if you played a supporter from your hand, 50 to one of your opponent's bench. But there were a lot of low HP and evolving decks at the time. 110 KO'd Shaman, which was in every single deck. And that was enough, honestly, to get all the way to the World Championships. Now, Zygarde and Regirock saw a whole bunch of kind of success-ish, but it really ended up being paired with a bunch of other stuff. We'll get there in a minute. But it was a very cool deck that was very obvious given the set. So you had Zygarde EX, that for a single energy did 20 damage, but with a stadium in play did 40. But then, of course, you had stuff like Strong Energy that would then let you do an extra 20, and so on and so forth. There was a lot of ways to boost fighting damage at the time, and that was just great for 1 energy. Or 2 energy 60, 3 energy 100, again boosting up. But then you also had Regirock EX that had an ability that said fighting Pokemon other than Regirock did 10 more to your opponent's active. So Regirock would boost Zygarde even further, and you basically just had a really, really efficient attacker. Now Mew was a very good card at the time, free retreat, and an ability to let you use the attacks of any of your basic Pokemon in play. You still needed the relevant energy, but you could hit for Psychic weakness very easily, or you could have an extra attacker, which would work very nicely, kind of like a 5th basic, which was pretty cool, and this saw play in a whole bunch of decks. Genesect EX, as I mentioned a moment ago, was another very, very good card. If you could accelerate a whole bunch of energy, and we had Bronzong at the time that could, accelerate energy, discard and smash with Genesect, job's a good un. Now, Carbink and the Break came along in this set, and there were actually 3 of them. There was a Carbink that stopped basic energy being removed by attacks, abilities, or trainer cards, but there was a better Carbink that prevented all effective attacks, including damage, from Pokemon EXs. This is the main one we'd use. Then you evolve it into Carbink Break that for a single energy did 20, but again, so many ways to accelerate it and do extra damage. And then you could accelerate 2 energy to your fighting Pokemon, but of course, it didn't say basic, so this could include special energy like strong energy, and it was great. Umbreon EX was a fun card because it let you take extra prizes when KOing a Mega. It saw play in a bunch of decks, and it saw a bit of love here and there, but it never was as good as it looked like it could be on paper. Glaceon EX stopped attacks of evolution Pokemon, and like I told you in the previous history video about generations, you combine this with Jolteon that stopped basic attacks and Vileplume that turned off item cards, and this made a very good deck that did as well as 3rd place at the World Championships in 2016. Bronzong Break saw a little bit of play because we were already playing Bronzong to accelerate energy, so you could put this on instead, just put it on top, and you get a bit more HP, as well as an attack that could, pop a bunch of damage anywhere. So, if we weren't playing the Bronzong that accelerated energy, maybe we never would have played this, but we were, so we totally did. Marowak was a very specific tech that saw a bit of play here and there, because it prevented all effective attacks done to you or your hand, not to your Pokemon, to you as the player. Some people actually did play this to stop some of those more annoying supporter cards. And a bit of love to Delphox and Delphox Break that never ended up being as good as they could, but between Delphox accelerating energy and then Delphox with Psystorm doing 20 for the amount of energy attached to all Pokemon in play, yours and your opponents, there was potential there, but taken from someone who tested that deck into the ground, it never actually ended up being good. Now, in terms of supporters, we had Chaos Tower here. This was another one of those double-sided stadium cards they did for a little while. One side couldn't be confused or poisoned, the other side couldn't be asleep or paralyzed. Really good if you were worried about particular special conditions. We had Fairy Garden that gave free retreat to Pokemon with Fairy energy attached. And while we're here, Fairy Drop healed 50 damage from a Pokemon with Fairy energy attached. And the Garden was way better than the Drop, but this was still a very good pair of cards that helped out Fairies very nicely. Now, in terms of the best decks from this set that came around, we've got to start with Mega Ordino. Shintaro Ito won the World Championships with Mega Ordino. Seems weird if we don't talk about it. It wasn't a thing before Worlds 2016. It wasn't a thing after Worlds 2016. But at Worlds 2016, a couple of Japanese players did incredibly well. It was a metagame call, and it really was all about Mega Ordino's attack. It was just Magical Symphony. There were other cards played in the deck. Magearna EX was very, very good, because it meant that you could prevent effects of attacks, which was very, very cool. You'd play a bit of metal energy to, stop it, which was nice. Bearing in mind you attacked for colourless energy, so playing metal was not a problem. Hooper EX was pretty important for going and searching out your EXs for a bit of extra consistency. And Mega Turbo was there for if you missed your turn 1 energy attachment. But it really was a deck that was just set up Mega Ordino and smash. Now, Bronzong Genesect, when it got second at Italian Nationals, piloted by Simone Zucchelli. Again, apologies for any mispronunciations. And it was basically just accelerate energy with Bronzong, smash with Genesect. Need to give a shout out to that Aegislash I mentioned earlier, which could give you silver bullets against decks that really relied on special energy. but it was largely just a case of, let's accelerate energy and smash with Genesect. Now, Zygarde Regirock as a deck was never really good enough until you combined it with Vileplume. Now, Thailand and Amura, again, apologies for any pronunciation errors, got 22nd at US Nationals, and Park Sejun got 29th at Worlds. So we're not talking, winning, but we're talking top 32 at very big, very competitive tournaments. And these were kind of built around Zygarde and Regirock, but using Vileplume, so your basic tenet of the deck is still hit good damage for low energy with Zygarde, but now your opponent's item locked at the same time. Carbink breaks all play in this deck, because basically if your opponent wasn't playing non-EXs, you just whack Carbink in the active, pop a bunch of strong energy on there, and then hit for not terrible damage, honestly, but while your opponent basically can't hit you back, and then you just sit there and have a good old chuckle to yourself. Sweet! Oh, and it did actually play the Slug Zygarde as well. It stopped your opponent retreating, so again, decent damage while you trap them in the active, and, well, have a jolly old time. Plus, Geostrike did 120 and 10 to each your opponent's bench, so decent damage on a single prize Pokemon. So yay! That was all nice and good. And that was it! That was Fates Collide. It was a pretty good set. It was a weird kind of set, because a lot of the best decks kind of came and went, so to speak, but it had a lot of very cool cards in there, and it brought us the most surprising World Championship winner ever, so, that was cool. Plus, of course, the first set to give us those pre-release kits. That alone makes me love it. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's over to you guys. If you were playing at the time, I want to know your memories. If you weren't playing at the time, I want to know your thoughts now you're seeing it for the first time. So go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And seriously, spread the word. I want to do more of these videos. They take so long to make. Let's make it worth it. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon card games, Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Martin Cornwall, who's been a supporter of ours since, honestly, back when I started the podcast right at the beginning, back in 2012. So shout out to him for being awesome, and for all the support. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.